The last 2 weeks being away from my family were brutal. I was perfectly fine the first week. I didn't even have mom guilt. But that second week, I felt so much contrast. If your vibe starts to drop this week, just pause, take a deep breath, and write down all the things you're grateful for. And continuously do that. And do that for just this week and see how you feel at the end of the week. Hey, everybody. I'm back. I'm so happy to be back. I'm so excited to do this episode today for Mindful Monday. I know that my voice is not 100% yet. I am just coming off of a head cold that I guess I picked up my second trip to Las Vegas last week, but I already missed one episode and I just cannot miss another episode for myself. So sorry, you have to bear with me through this crazy voice. But today is our Mindful Monday episode, and these are just my absolute favorite episodes because they really help ground me for the week. And the more I dive into being intentional, just the more everything really falls into place. I know I've said that over and over again, but it's so true. So don't forget, 40% of your happiness is derived from your intentional activity. That is why I am obsessed with these Mindful Monday episodes and why I have just really leaned into being super intentional all the time. It just really helps. It knocks you out of autopilot and it really forces you to think and it really forces you to be present, which I think is like the absolute best fringe benefit of living this intentional life is really living in the present moment. I know that so many people still struggle with that. And I admitted this a long time ago, like that's probably the one area of my life I've really needed to dig in and do the most work on was truly being present. With that said, today's Mindful Monday intention and mantra is all about gratitude. So the beautiful thing about gratitude is gratitude and being grateful for what you have in your life actually forces you to be present because it forces you to focus on what you have right now in this moment. 6 years ago, when my husband and I decided to really kind of focus on this journey of self-awareness, when we both realized that we were just caught up in this ego-driven life, we started with gratitude. And looking back, it's not surprising that we started with gratitude. I think gratitude is the most basic form of self-awareness. So it's not surprising to me that that's where we started. But it's not that it's just basic, it's the most powerful. And like we always say, there's so much power in simple everyday things that people overlook constantly. So, gratitude. So this is the focus for the week. We will focus on being grateful for everything that we have in our lives and really honing in and focusing on what those things are. If you have not been paying attention to this, and when you hear me say focus on what you're grateful for what you have in your life right now, really sit back and think about that for a second and do a quick inventory if you feel like you're not really sure what you're grateful for, because I know there's at least 10 solid things in your life right now that you're grateful for. So spend a few minutes thinking about those and jot those down. But this week, our mantra will be, I am grateful for this moment. Every experience I have is perfect for my growth. I chose this week. Well, for one, in the last week of a travel week, I'm going to be home for like 5 or 6 days before I leave again. And then this last trip is only for 2 days. So it's not as bad. But the last 2 weeks being away from my family were brutal. I was perfectly fine the first week. I didn't even have mom guilt. But that second week, I felt so much contrast. And I had to realize that contrast is the greatest teacher. And I had to really become grateful for that so that I could really process that and try to focus on what I was getting out of that experience and not let myself spiral down into this low vibe place that I really didn't want to be. So this felt like the perfect thing to focus on this week, gratitude. I am grateful for this moment every experience I have is perfect for my growth. Gratitude is just so amazing because the more you focus on it, the more grateful you become about everything. And the more you practice it, just like with anything, you start to understand all the things in your life that you can be grateful for. And it just grows and it grows and it grows. So I really want everyone to pay attention this week to what they're grateful for. I know you've probably heard so many people talk about this. They say like the number one thing you can do to boost your mood or to boost your emotional health is to keep a gratitude journal every night. Write down the things that happen in the day that you're grateful for and try not to repeat things. If that feels too heavy for you, at least just take 30 minutes. At least take 30 seconds to 2 minutes every night before you go to bed and just reflect on the day and reflect on the things that you are grateful for and just sit with that and just be grateful for it. And as always, just tie this mantra to your routine in the morning when you wake up. Repeat it. I am grateful for this moment. Every experience I have is perfect for my growth. Write it down, put it in your journal. Like I said, if you're at work, put it on the top of your meeting agendas. Just focus on it. And the one thing that's really been working for me with these mantras and these mindful Mondays that I carry through the week is as the week goes, and if my motivation starts to wear down or I have to do something I just really don't feel like doing that I've been putting off for a long time, I just pause and I sit for a few seconds and I just think to myself and I repeat the mantra. And it just makes it so much easier for me to step into that space and do whatever I have to do. And we all know that a lot of the things that we procrastinate on never end up being that bad when we sit down and do them. So when I step into something truly intentional, it has really changed how I approach everything. And don't forget, what you give your energy to matters. It grows and it gets bigger. So really, really focus this week on being grateful for every opportunity you have, even if it comes in the face of contrast. And remember that contrast is your teacher, and you can even be grateful for that. And if your vibe starts to drop this week, just pause, take a deep breath, and write down all the things you're grateful for. And continuously do that. And do that for just this week and see how you feel at the end of the week. And we will be back Thursday to talk a little bit more about contrast, how to be grateful for it, and how do you grow from it. And exactly this is like what every experience is teaching you is growth, and how we can start to shift the way that we see that. All right, guys, I hope today's episode inspires you. Sorry about the cold, sick voice, but I had to hop on because I love, love, love doing this podcast with you. Thanks so much for holding and creating space with me today.